Welcome back to another edition of Tribeoholics. We missed last week. Marshall and I both had a long weekend. We were going to try and go and do another episode of the Shampoo Effect, but that wasn't the case. We weren't able to. But we're here with you guys this week, and there's a lot going on in Florida State sports, man. We've got everything from football stuff going on with the offseason to women's sports as well, doing some big things. I'm excited to get going on this episode, Marshall. Before we go ahead and get started, I want to toss it over to you, see how you're doing. Everything good over there in your household?
Man, I'm tired, but life's good. Life's all right now. The Rona's dying down. There's light on the horizon, baby. But working hard. Happy to be here.
Always a working man. And some positive news in my life. I have a vehicle again. It's fun. I got a nice little sports car, a little BMW 328i that I'm really excited to be driving, man. And it's, like you were saying before we got on, it's little things in life you take for granted sometimes. So back in the saddle, back behind the wheel, if you will. Super excited about that, man. But before we get going any further, we're going to ask people that are watching, tuning in right now, what are you guys sipping on? That's how we begin every single show here at Tribeoholics. So Marshall, I'll throw it over to you. What are you sipping on this evening?
I'm sipping on a little Bud Light Seltzer tonight. Just a little guy.
Just enough to seltzers, man.
Just enough to get me to sleep later.
I haven't had the Bud Light Seltzers. Are they good? I've had almost all the other ones, but not that one.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Strawberry is my favorite. I'm saving that one for last.
Nice. Are they stronger at all? Or are they just as good as other seltzers, or what's it?
They're their own taste. They're their own thing. They're kind of different than everyone else. It's just, imagine Bud Light as a seltzer. It's Bud Light.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to do it. I'm going to join you on that Bud Light train. I've got some Bud Light Platinums here, about the 6%ers. So, have about 4 or 5 of those, and you're feeling yourself pretty good. So I'll be good, throughout the show for you guys. I'll be nice and amped up, ready to go and talk some Florida State sports. Let us know what you guys are sipping on. Whether that's a beer, whether that's, a little bourbon. I know TJ Pittinger over there at Double Fries No Slaw has got a new podcast that deals with bourbon. A lot of Florida State fans are interested in that as well. So if you're drinking a nice little bourbon tonight, just chilling, relaxing, watching us. If you're not drinking anything, just, let us know you're chilling, watching, show the fam some love. So without further ado, Marshall, man, we've got some, things in the process of brewing. One of those things is that we're going to have, should I even tell what we're about to do here at the end of March or here at the beginning of March, or should I just kind of tease it a little bit?
You have to create demand. So however you think the best way to do that, do it.
All right, yeah. I'll just tease it a little bit. I won't give the people everything. But we've got some big things in the work here come the end of basketball season. With a couple of your favorite personalities within not necessarily the FSU beat, some of them in the FSU beat, some of them that are, associated with the FSU beat as well. So we're going to have tons of faces on here. I think we're going to have a nice group panel of about 8 to 10 people that are going to be going over some things. It's going to be very exciting here. I think early/mid March. So you guys keep your eyes peeled for all of that information. It's going to be a huge show. We're really looking forward to it, really working. So I want to go ahead and show the people something that we are doing real quick, and I'm going to share my screen so I can go ahead and show everybody what I'm talking about. We have ordered 150 koozies for everybody, dude. So we're going to be giving away probably about half of these, which I'm really looking forward to. But let me go ahead and pull these up so you guys can see what we're talking about here. Can you guys see those? Yeah, there you go. All right, some sweet little koozies we got going on there. Logan Robinson jumping in, friend of the show. We're friends of Noel Game Day as well. We love them, and so talking about people that might be popping into that show at some point. Logan definitely is one of those people that could make an appearance for that show. You guys keep your eyes peeled for others and all of that nature, but. Yeah, guys, we're getting some koozies. I've been trying to get this together for a long time. Finally was able to reach out to somebody local too. So somebody from Tallahassee that is able to put these things together for us. Nice white koozies with the Tribeoholics logo on them. They're going to be pretty sweet. Logan says need a koozie ASAP. Absolutely. If you're a friend of the program, we're going to be giving you a koozie, on us right off the bat. Like I said, we're giving away about 75 of those. Look out for giveaway opportunities if you don't know us personally. So yeah, that's something. And then those other 75 will probably sell for, not too expensive. So that'll be awesome. Things for us to get going, moving on down the road. But with that being said, man, let's go ahead and jump into the beef of all this. And we're going to start with the Unconquered campaign, which was ultimately the $100 million campaign to launch the football-only facility for Florida State for the football teams. So we gave an update last show we had saying that we were working our way. We were getting close to that, level that we needed to reach, that goal we needed to reach to be able to start this process. And now it has come out that we haven't gotten all the $100 million, but we have all of the pledges of that $100 million underway. So we have that money being pledged and promised to the university right now for that football only facility. So it's going to happen. And how excited are you for that to get underway?
Man, it's about damn time. Should have happened in 2014. Let's go. It's going to be big time for recruiting, man. Like, just get up to par with the Clemsons and Alabamas of the world. And, everyone wants to come to Tallahassee. This will be the last reason why kids will have to come here. People are going to be knocking down the door if we start winning games again. And we have those facilities, man. It's exciting. It'll be a big step forward for our program.
I 100% agree, man. And the thing is I think I read somewhere, I'm not 100% sure if this is true or not. It most likely seems like it is, but we could be the only football program in the state of Florida to have a football-only facility.
That's big time. That's UF at Gainesville is already horrible. Like, so to just blow them out of the water just made me happy. Miami, their stadium's an hour away from their school. So, like, yeah. And then USF, UCF. I'm sure – I feel like UCF would be the team that's going to do it next in second place with their program. They got Gus Malzahn now. Who knows what's going to happen there. But, yeah, man, that's awesome. Oh, FSU, baby.
Yeah, I think when it comes to recruiting, that's going to be huge for the state of Florida, especially if we are the only, Florida team with a football only facility. Like you said, Miami doesn't have much anyways. Their IPF is only 60 yards or something like that. So like they don't even have a full length indoor practice facility. So we're, light years ahead of them. And then when it comes to Florida, you would think that they would already have had something like that in motion, but we'll see, man. I'm excited for it to start getting, built, but the thing is how soon are we going to expect to see that? That's the real question mark, in my opinion, because I would rather see it sooner than later. But, albeit if it's going to happen, it's going to happen one way or another, and that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the way things are moving right now, it might take a little bit, but I'll bet you $3 that it gets done before the student union.
Dude, the student union's been in process since I was leaving college, and that was 3 years ago.
I was a freshman, man. I had 4 Rivers for a semester, then it was over. It's horrible.
That's pretty wild, man. I can't believe they still haven't even moved on from that. But speaking of recruiting and what we were talking about before, there's been a bunch of crystal balls coming out, a bunch of guys dropping edits with us in their top 8, a bunch of guys dropping edits in their top 6, their top 4. Bogey Boy 68. Nothing else matters until Tiger's okay again. It is. I'm not gonna give away who Bogey Boy 88 is, but he modeled for Garnet and Gold once upon a time and wore a youth medium baseball jersey in a picture that I was able to take with him. So pretty funny. Makes him look really jacked. He's one of our buddies, really close and everything. So appreciate you joining in, man. But yeah. A lot of crystal balls rolling in for not only football guys, but basketball, another 5-star basketball guy that we've got a crystal ball for. And, recruiting, like I was saying, we've been having a bunch of guys later down in the process. So 2022, 23 guys who are dropping, their top 8 schools, their top 4, their top 6 schools. And there's even guys who are starting to commit as well. And a lot of those guys who have committed are, kind of local, if you will. I know the one guy, I forget his last name, but he committed out of Thomasville, and he's supposed to be a package deal with 2 other players. So things are starting to look up, and that'll bring us into our next recruiting topic here in a second. But your first impressions on what Mike has been able to do right now up until this point, and your reaction to some of these guys, these high 4-stars, maybe eventually 5-stars, throwing us into the names of the likes of the Alabamas, the Georgias, the big names, the Ohio States again, the Penn States again.
Hey, Norvell's getting his foot in the door, man. That's where you got to start. Now we got to win games. We've had some success in the transfer portal. Hopefully we can put something together this season. Last season is a good excuse, to tell recruits, we had no time. Look, we even beat the number 5 team in the country. We can put something together here. He's telling these kids something, and the kids that are committing to us right now they're committed. They're coming here to win, and it's really exciting. I think Norvell, you know how Norvell is. He fires you up. He's probably walking in those houses. I bet he's recruiting the parents just like Bobby Bowden did. You got to recruit the parents more than the kid. And I feel like parents are very comfortable with sending their sons to go play for Mike Norvell because he's going to make them men. That's the first thing. That's the most important thing in the recruiting process and developing these young men and to be successful after college, because not all of them are going to go to the NFL, So
right.
Norvell is definitely saying the right things, and the way he's a high motor, man. He's gonna follow through on his promises or do his best to. And our foot's in the door. We're starting to be up there with Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Auburn, all those big schools. So it's pretty exciting. I like it. We got to start winning.
Yeah, it all comes down to the play on the field. I feel like everybody should know that or should have an inkling of that. You can't just do, what we did when Willie Taggart was here, for example, and expect to keep bringing in these kids and expect them to stay. We're committed, not only, committed to you, but even, mention your name or your school's name in their top 8 or their final list of schools that they plan on, going and taking visits to or considering to attend. So that leads me into a 247 article that was posted today. Talking about Florida head coaches as recruiters. And this stirred up a lot of controversy on Twitter. It was, pretty comical in my opinion at the rankings that came out. But let me just go ahead and read you top to bottom in the order that, they collabed. So it wasn't just one person 4-7 putting these together. It was kind of a collaboration between a bunch of the guys who were associated probably most likely with the Florida network of recruiting. So you think of the guys on our side of things, you got Brendan Snow, and you got Newberg and all those guys. So obviously Bud Elliott's involved too in the Florida sphere too, even though he's more, nationally known and recognized. But looking at this list that these guys and everybody that's associated with recruiting in the state of Florida has put together, I'm just going to read them right off the bat. Number 1, they have Manny Diaz at Miami. Number 2, they have newly appointed head coach at UCF, Gus Malzahn. Number 3, they have Dan Mullen over at UF in Gainesville. Number 4, we have our head coach, Mike Norvell. And number 5, we have our former coach and Willie Taggart at FAU. Number 6, Jeff Scott, the original co-offensive coordinator at Clemson, now the head coach at USF. And number 7 at FIU, Butch Davis. So give me your initial reactions before we start digging into this.
I'm not too worried about it. I think Norvell still has a lot to prove before he's – so does Manny Diaz. And I feel like – and Dan Mullen, he's not the best recruiter. I don't know. I just think it's too early to tell. We'll see. Next year, he could easily be number 1. He has to put together some classes and win some games. But I think
it's kind of okay. Go ahead.
That's it. I think personally, he has potential to be the best recruiter on that list by far. So I think Gus Malzahn are going to be the best recruiters on that list. So.
Yeah, even looking down at the bottom, I think Jeff Scott's a hell of a recruiter. When you look at what he was able to do at Clemson, and he was one of the main recruiters there while he was, paid by them to do what he did. And then you have Butch Davis, who is by far probably one of the best recruiters of the state of Florida. Nothing against him being a head coach. He's not the greatest head coach, that's been proven. But dude is a hell of a recruiter, and he gets kids to come play for him. And, him being in the last spot is kind of shocking to me. And I personally don't understand why Manny Diaz is at number 1. I think that was my biggest laugh out of all this, because he might be able to get them to initially commit to his team, but What do we see throughout the whole season? All these fucking notepads, these notes on people on these kids' iPhones decommitting from the University of Miami all throughout the season, every single year. And I don't understand why they can keep putting him at the number one guy just because he can originally get these guys to commit.
I mean, Derek King was a big part of that. He's got some good players on his team. He's just.
I mean, I guess the whole thing with Manny Diaz in this situation comes from him being able to recruit transfers.
Yeah, I mean that plays a big part of it. But if that's the case, then Norvell should be up there too. You know, like I don't know, Manny Diaz. He's got something going on. He's trying to bring back that Miami swagger persona. You know, just that kind of asshole mentality. But has it worked yet? No, they haven't really improved that much. I mean, they've thrashed us, but that's just because we've fallen off so far. But I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch Norvell and Diaz in the future. That's going to be a very fun. I mean, this rivalry might be rekindled pretty soon. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think Gus being number 2 is respectable. Him coming from Auburn into UCF is going to do wonders for them, in my opinion. You know, he's already got, you know, that those Southern ties into this stratosphere and was able to pull Florida kids into, you know, Auburn, Alabama to come play for Auburn. So I don't think he's going to have a problem. I think he'll probably do better than even some of the past head coaches that they have had who have moved on to head coaching jobs themselves. So I think that's respectable to have him at 2. Dan Mullen at 3. I guess it's okay. I don't see Dan as being an overachiever when it comes to recruiting. He pulls the kids he needs to, and that's it. So that is what it is. But, you know, moving on to Mike, I think Mike is going to raise up, you know, these rankings as the years go on. I mean, right now, even we're seeing it. He's not only pulling kids from the state of Florida. So I guess that's the, you know, like the lane that you have to go in when you're thinking about this ranking system in terms of recruiting in the state of Florida. So I think that kind of limits him because he's going out and recruiting elsewhere. He's not just recruiting Florida. He's going into Louisiana with Yak, going in there and getting kids with David Johnson, if you guys don't know who Yak is. And then, you know, pulling guys from, you know, other southern states and recruits from everywhere else. And then he also has those ties out in the West Coast in Arizona that him and Kenny Dillingham have built up. And Kenny Dillingham's got all kinds of different connections too. So, I mean, it's just crazy what Mike is able to do in terms of pulling kids from outside of the state. That's, I kind of think, why he's ranked where he is right now, because we have yet to see him kind of make his name and known when it comes to the recruiting cycles of Florida.
Yeah. Do you think Gus Malzahn is there to stay? He's going to try to build a program there, or do you think he's going to pump and dump like most other coaches do?
I don't know, because I can see Gus is getting older. He's been through, you know, the ringer at Auburn. He knows what is demanded of you from a school of that, you know, magnitude. So I honestly could see him staying at UCF and trying to build UCF even bigger than what they already are now. Because, I mean, when we first imagined UCF, we never thought they would be to the point to where they are now even. Like, why would we be sitting here saying that, being able to talk about UCF like we are now, saying that they went undefeated one season, saying that we're so happy to have their quarterback, you know, transfer to us. Like, they are earning their respect. And, you know, although we used to shit on them and laugh at them for their national championship claim or whatever, that's a huge deal for them. You know, that's a huge deal, especially with the type of playmakers that they had at that school. The NFL, you know, these kids are good that he's able to pull in there. They might not be the 4 or 5 stars that you get, but Gus Malzahn can change that narrative because he's Gus Malzahn. You know, he's got that name, and now he's going to be able to associate it with an up-and-coming football university that is, you know, starting to take aim towards football and make their name known in the state of Florida for being able to play football and being able to compete with the big boys. We have yet to see that, obviously, with them not playing anybody like Florida, Miami, or us. I mean, they might have not too long ago, but they didn't. You know, it is what it is. They're still working on getting to that level because it's still hard no matter what when you go and compete against a D1 school like that, even though UCF is still a D1 school. But it's, you know, I think I could see him staying there for a while. Does that mean I necessarily see him not going and leaving and taking a bigger job? No, because obviously that's what every head coach wants, is to take one of those big Power 5 jobs and, go and win a national championship. But like I said, Gus is getting older. He might have his priorities rearranged now after being fired from Auburn, realizing that that's not necessarily what he wants. So that's an interesting question, Marshall.
Mm-hmm. It's like Bobby Bowden didn't get the Bama job, so he just went to Tallahassee and built his Bama in Tallahassee,
Yeah, I mean, Bobby would have had that job, but he didn't like the way that Alabama came out about it. He was like, if you want to hire me, I don't need to be asked all these questions. I'm going to be asking you questions. That's how, if you want me bad enough, that's how it's going to roll. And that's not how it happened. So Bobby was a little bit turned off by that. He's like, all right, big finger to you guys. I'm going to, jet my way back to Tallahassee and build a program there. So, I mean, it's slightly similar, but I mean, UCF isn't down in the dumps like Florida State.
Yeah, no, it's not the same. It's just, I was kind of making that similarity, but UCF has the potential. I mean, them and Ohio State are the two biggest schools in the country, and they could be. I mean, maybe not football caliber wise, they'll never be, but just kind of be like the Ohio State type school of the South. There's a lot of potential. It's in Orlando, like. My sister went there. It's a fun school, and I mean there are a lot of UCF fans around here. I'm down here in Central Florida. UCF, they're getting a little fan base now. Like my cousins went there, and they are huge UCF fans. It's kind of weird to see, but their stadium rocks, and it has a lot of room to build onto it. In 30 years, who knows what they'll be?
Yeah, I'm not personally a fan of Orlando, but I mean, just from growing up in Central Florida and everything, I know how crazy and hectic it gets there. But like for people on the outside or people trying to attend that college, it's a very attractive, destination to end up. I mean, you got Disney right there. You've got a large city. You've got the beach not too terribly far away. So, I mean, I completely understand why kids want to go there now. And now that it's a great football program, that just adds to it. You want to go play at somewhere like that. So I think it's great that Gus Malzahn is there. I think that's only going to propel UCF even further. But moving on, the bottom half of this list. So Willie Taggart, Jeff Scott, and Butch Davis. What are your thoughts on that really quick?
Taggart.
I was shocked to see him at 5, but I guess he's just because he's got a lot of Florida ties. That's the only reason why.
Yeah, he's not a bad. I mean, that's how he got all his jobs, is his recruiting ties. He can, he can spit it, man. He can talk. He can, and in the right situations, he can coach too. I feel like FAU is a great spot for him. I mean, nothing against him, but maybe in 10 years, maybe he'll be ready for the Power 5. But I just feel like he wasn't ready yet. He's a young guy. He's not that old. Like it's kind of what Lane Kiffin went there after Alabama and just kind of practice, basically. Like he got better and better, and look at the offense he's running now at Ole Miss. He just needs to recruit a dang defense. But Taggart, he's a good recruiter. I mean, he used to come to my high school all the time when he was at USF, and man, when he came in, like everyone knew he was there. And Jimbo Fisher came in one time, same deal, and in Florida, and Al Golden came for some players. He was a joke, and he was a joke. And then Muschamp came one year, and he was pretty intense. He came when I was in middle school. My middle school was tied with the high school, and Muschamp came to talk to Xavier Gaines, who was a tight end at Marshall. He's going to the NFL draft. He was my quarterback, and Muschamp. That's when they just came off that Sugar Bowl loss to Louisville, but they were like number 3 in the country. They were nasty. Dante Fowler and all them. And he was pretty intense, but he kind of turned out to be a dud too. But when Tiger was in the building, everyone knew when he was at USF. Right. For that 10-2 season, like it was, oh my God, Willie Taggart's the next big thing, and he still has a potential to be. He had a tough go at FSU, just wrong coach, wrong time. Mm-hmm. So FAU, he didn't do too bad last year. We'll see how he can recruit. I think he's still a pretty good recruiter. He can spit it.
No, he definitely can. I'm not saying he can't, because he definitely can. He's got that sales pitch that he's willing to give out, and I mean, he knows how to talk. Let's give it to the man. He knows the right things to say when it needs to be said. So He's a personable person. You can give him that. But Steve Wilfong, who is the head recruiting guy for 247, came out and tweeted and quote tweeted this article and said that if for him, a couple guys that needed to be more towards the top of that list were Mike Norvell and Jeff Scott out of UCF. And I understand why he's wanting to put Norvell there, which is awesome because he's examining not only Florida, but elsewhere as well. So he's seeing it from our side of things instead of, maybe what the article demanded of it or what the, circumstances around the article demanded. So I like that. That's the one guy's opinion that I care most about, because when you see a crystal ball go out for a kid, who's the one crystal ball you're waiting for the whole time? You're waiting for Steve's crystal ball, because Steve's crystal ball usually means that it's a done deal and it's signed, sealed, and fucking delivered. So, I mean, I love him coming out and saying that. And the reason I like Jeff Scott, and I agree with him in saying Jeff Scott deserves to be higher, is because when Jeff Scott was at Clemson, Clemson was pulling kids out of Florida like it was crack in fucking Davenport, Florida. Like, it was just ridiculous, dude. It was just wild.
That's a level.
I mean, I had to throw it in there.
We smoked meth down here, bro. We smoked meth.
Yes, I mean, dude, like dude was pulling kids that he had no business pulling out of Florida and getting to go up to Clemson, South Carolina, and like that in itself should be a big deal. Like that should be a big deal for him to be able to start pulling kids to USF, which I think he will. It's to be seen. So I think it's kind of what Steve was hinting at, was that it's, a process that's going to continue to grow. And I think he kind of is predetermining that these two guys, Mike Norvell and Jeff Scott, are going to move their way up this ladder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think 4 is a good spot to start. Like he's already halfway up the ladder. Let's see if he can get to the top. Let's see this season.
Right.
Was that true that they might try to do full capacity for the spring game, or is that just a rumor?
What for our spring game?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. It's rumor mill, but I mean, it's obviously things that I hear, sources that I have from inside, that it is a possibility that they are going to try a full stadium or full capacity for the spring game to test the waters for next season. If that's going to happen or not, I'm not 100% sure, because it's kind of an iffy subject when it comes to talking about that. So
DeSantis gave us permission, like
right, but
pull the trigger.
I mean, the whole thing's along the line of politics, right? All that has to do with is politics and things of that nature. And you're going to get backlash from one side and you're going to get backlash from the other, no matter what decision you make. So, I mean, I'm cool with it personally, but we'll see how it goes. I hope that's the case, just at least test run it, for next season to see if it'll work. But, moving off of recruiting and all that news, there is a new show by Cam Newton and a bunch of other guys. I forget what it's called. I think I Am an Athlete or something like that. And it was a big thing on social media, especially Twitter, yesterday and into today. I know Logan Robinson, our guy over at No Game Day, posted it on his Twitter, and he clipped it and put it on his Twitter. So if you guys go follow Logan on Twitter, go watch that video. It's actually really cool. And the whole conversation that they were having was about 3 minutes long. Was who's I don't even remember what the exact question was, but like, who is the most electrifying wide receiver like for you? And so like the guests that Cam Newton had on at this time were Fred Taylor, Chad Ochocinco, and Brandon Marshall. So Brandon Marshall used to play for Denver Broncos as well as the New England Patriots as a wide receiver. Ochocinco, the Cincinnati Bengals, also played with the Patriots as a wide receiver. Fred Taylor, obviously known as a running back in Jacksonville, Florida, coming out of UF, and everybody still knows who Cam Newton is. So it was a great conversation. Honestly, it was fun to see what these guys thought about it, but the majority of them decided to side with P-Dub over Percy Harvin, which I 100 wholeheartedly agree with. Percy Harvin was a great athlete, don't get me wrong, but if you're talking about the most electrifying wide receiver, the best wide receiver in college ever, you have to go with P-Dub.
Oh, yeah. Percy Harvin, I mean, he was faster than P-Dub. He was fast, really fast. And he was on a great team, that 08 team at Florida. But P-Dub was just – he was the player in college football back then. Like he was the player. Percy Harvin was like an accessory to Tebow. P-Dub was the guy. You know, he was the guy. He was the leader of that team. And
I think without Percy, you don't get Tebow. Like I don't think you see the Tebow that everybody saw. Without
Tebow
Percy
also
Harvin.
had Aaron Hernandez. He had Riley Cooper. Yeah, Riley Cooper. Yeah. That was a great team. Even though
he also had Andre DeBose or
35 of the 72 players on there have been arrested now. They need a 30 for 30. I will watch that. But yeah, man. P-Dub he's just different, man.
That's what a lot of them were saying, and I think like the only person that really was trying to back up Percy Harvin in this argument was Fred Taylor. Obviously, coming out of the University of Florida, if he's going to side that way, but I think his whole thing is that Percy received so many more touches as a running back, so why can't you put him as the better electrifying player or electrifying wide receiver? But like that's not what the conversation was about. Like you can't make that argument. You take away those touches, he's got less touches, less yardage, he's already got less touchdowns than P-Dub anyway. So
and less impact.
Right, and less impact on a game. So I understand why he wanted to go with Percy, because Percy was an electrifying talent. He was fun to watch. Like I hate saying it, but Percy Harvin was a blast to watch, especially in college. He was just everywhere, outrunning people, putting moves on people, being able to see the field ridiculously. But P-Dub was a different level. One of the big things that I think Cam Newton or one of them said was that P-Dub's dead leg was just ridiculous. Like he would just plant it in the ground and it wouldn't move, and the guy would just be flying right by him.
Yeah. And I love just watching P-Dub highlights, man. It's awesome.
All right. I think another friend of the show, Jackie, on Twitter, she has posted the, like the highlight clip that like everybody posts of P-Dub. It's like I forget what the song is. It's like, and he's just like highlights. It starts off with him returning the kick or whatever, and dead legging the hell out of somebody right off the bat. And it's and she was like, "Better watch this and then rethink what you said, Fred." It's pretty funny. Yeah, it was pretty cool stuff, man. But I thought it was great. That was the first episode of Cam Newton's new show, or whoever started its new show, I Am an Athlete. It was great debate. I highly recommend you guys go watch it, because there's a lot of stuff other than this. But I just wanted to bring this in here and create a little conversation, because I thought it was very interesting, because these are two of the most electrifying college football players that a lot of people have seen in their days of watching college football. So I obviously am going to side with P-Dub, but Percy Harvin was also a very special talent at the University of Florida. But P-Dub was just filthy, did everything, returns. I know Percy did it too, but P-Dub could just change the game like that. Percy Harvin, I don't think could change the game like that. Like he could get big chunk plays, but I don't necessarily think that he could make those game-changing type plays that P-Dub did on his returns or things of that nature. So, I give that dub to P-Dub ultimately, even though, neither of them necessarily had great NFL careers. Percy Harvin a little bit better than P-Dub, because P-Dub blew out his whole fucking knee, and then, Percy Harvin having his migraine. So I thought it was a great conversation to have between all those guys. Those are well-respected, versed guys in terms of explosive playmaking abilities from the wide receiver position and the running back position, as well as quarterbacks.
Yeah, we need some more debate on this show. That would heat it up. I would love that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to start doing like Florida State players though, because nobody's gonna side with Percy Harvin.
Dalvin Cook versus Ward Dunn. Hot topic. All
right, well, we'll slot that in for a future segments in the future, so that'll be fun to talk about. But where we are, women's basketball, man. Women's basketball. They've been having a decent season, not a great season like we're accustomed to, but they're having a pretty good season. They're going to probably make the tournament. Everything with Coach Brooke under the helm, while Coach Sue is gone for a family matter, and we wish her all the best with her family and send out prayers to them. But Brooke has filled in admirably. And they just upset the number 3 team in the nation in Louisville, which is the 11th time we've beaten a top 5 AP opponent. So that's a big, huge accomplishment for the Lady Noles and, interim head coach Brooke.
Yes.
Yeah, short speech there.
Louisville must hate us, dude. Those people must absolutely hate us. I love it. I'm so happy we have someone we can still dick on.
Yeah, it's nice, you know. So I mean, there's at least one school that we can dick on is Louisville, pulling recruits from them, beating their ass in basketball. Every single basketball game we do play them, there's at least one poster in it. So I mean, it's awesome. And then you go out and beat them, who they're the number 3 ranked team in the nation. That's a big deal. That's a huge resume builder in terms of making the tournament. So, you know, good for them. I'm excited to. I'm going to start watching now. I'm not big into watching women's basketball like our boy Davis is, but you know, I'm going to start tuning in. You know, if we're playing like this, excuse me, to be able to compete with these top teams, I'm here for it.
Oh, Davis. I wonder if he's watching.
Probably not. He's busy up there doing his shit in Washington, D.C. in the swamp.
Yeah, he's swimming in the swamp, laying his traps.
But yeah, moving on to another women's sport here, man. We got women's softball. So women's softball, they are sitting at a record of 7-3, 4-2 in the conference right now. You know, the previous weekend they had, you know, matchups with Missouri and Memphis, went pretty decently. And then this weekend, they had ACC play with Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. We swept Georgia Tech. First game winning 8-1, second game 7-3, third game 5-4. Great start to this opening week or this second weekend of FSU softball for the ladies. They kept it up good. And then they started off that Virginia Tech series. So Virginia Tech, if you guys don't know, is ranked number 15. Our ladies are now ranked number – I don't have the ranking right now. Can't find it. Sorry. But yeah, we're still ranked. Our Lady Knowles in softball are still ranked, but Virginia Tech was ranked 15, and we won the first game 7-1. So you kind of had an idea that, hey, we're gonna keep this thing rolling. And then in the doubleheader on Saturday, that second game, we lost to them 9-1. They just kind of got tired, and then on Sunday we lost 6-0. So like offense wasn't able to produce later on in the weekend, but there's still promise. You know, it's an up and down season when it comes to softball. You know, you win some, you lose some, just like baseball. So you got to take it for what it's worth, build on it, learn from those mistakes that happen, get that offense back up and running. I have all the trust ever in Coach Lonnie Alameda. She's an absolute animal of a head coach for our softball team. I mean, that's been proven for the past 5 years or so that she is just coming to win. And, you know, looking ahead this week, we've got Florida Gulf Coast. We got 2 games against them on Friday and Saturday. We also have a game against Southeastern Louisiana on Saturday in a doubleheader before the following weekend we face off against Florida. So that'll be interesting. I think this is going to be a good little tune-up this upcoming weekend against FGCU and Southeastern Louisiana for us heading into next weekend. You know, gain a little bit of confidence heading into that.
Oh, yeah. I just looked at the rankings. New rankings come out today. And we're at 15. Virginia Tech's at 14.
Okay, cool. So they moved up one spot, and we're just kind of sitting solid wherever we were before. I think we were right around those you know, low teens, mid teens area to begin with. So yeah, good for the girls, man. I'm excited. I love watching softball, especially it's just so fast paced. I think I'd probably enjoy it more than I watch baseball. It's just fun, more fast paced than baseball. And you know, these girls make some wild plays. I don't know if you guys saw that one play that I forget what her name was, made the other night, but you know, she gained some praise from some MLB or ML Major League Baseball players on Twitter and everything for the move that she made and picking off somebody who was trying to steal second and going between her legs and being able to tag the person out at 2. So awesome stuff that the girls got going on right now.
Oh yeah, in the air between the legs. Horrible slide by that girl though, man. That was just awful.
Yeah, were you able to see that highlight?
Yeah, she did it to herself, man. I mean, that was awesome though. Mid-air, caught the ball between the legs.
Well, being able to hold on to a softball too when you're making all those movements is a lot more difficult than you would imagine. I mean, a baseball is a lot easier to hold on to in that sort of situation. But when you got a softball that's much bigger than a baseball and you're trying to hold it in your glove and then just swinging it down as fast as you can between your legs to keep that thing held in there, that's a pretty difficult move. We've got a good squad, and I'm looking forward to what they have for us the rest of the season. Oh,
yeah. They'll be fine.
And, yeah, they'll be fine. And, Marshall, I'm wearing my baseball jersey, man. I know this is, you know, our big baseball segment. This is what this whole show right here was mostly going to be about, was baseball. So I broke out the baseball jersey. I know one of our boys hopped in here earlier talking about baseball as well. So I'll go ahead and let you take it from here. Give us a quick, short little recap, and then we'll get into what we have ahead this weekend.
All right. Last weekend we played. Who did we play last weekend? I just forgot.
UNF. Decent little program. First game we dropped. It's baseball. It happens. It's kind of disappointing to lose opening day. It's the most hyped day of the season until you get to the postseason. But we dropped our first game to Niagara last year, so it's just baseball. It happens. It's just a bunch of averages. But the next day we swept the doubleheader. Played great. Let's see. Where are my stats? Tyler Martin off to a blazing start. Has 8 at bats, 6 hits. He's 6 for 8, batting .750. Man, I had my doubts about Tyler Martin when it's Mike Martin's grandson. Thought he just coach's kid, But man, he's come in. He's really, really impressed me, man. He's good. He can play ball. Little fellow, he can play. Nander DeSatis, batting .500, doing good. Good start. I mean, it's only 3 games, so all these will even out. Everyone else is kind of trailing behind. Home runs. Matthew Nelson had 2 home runs over the weekend, so he's leading the team. He's our catcher, right?
Yeah, I believe so. But what I'm most excited about this weekend series coming up against Pittsburgh is my best friend from high school plays first base for Pittsburgh. His name's Bryce Hewlett. He's batting .300. He's doing good. I'm heading up this weekend. I'm gonna go try to see him and see you too, I guess. But Pitt, they're not ranked. We're ranked 24th, I believe. Pitt's not ranked, but they dropped their first game also to Indiana State, but they won the next 2. Their bullpen pitched lights out. I mean, absolutely lights out. But it's against Indiana State again, so I don't know nothing about them. But they're hitting pretty decent. Their lineup doesn't really scare me too much. I mean, I think they only have 1 or 2 home runs as a team. And our pitching is going to be pretty good. Hopefully we can see freshman Carson Montgomery come out, freshman pitcher. Dude is absolutely filthy. He's pumping 96, and he has like 3 breaking balls that are absolutely filthy. He's going to be a first-round draft pick in a couple years. I don't think he'll be here every year. So hopefully we get to see him. I think we picked up 13 recruits, 3 transfers, 10 out of high school, and we're just really deep this year. We haven't been this deep in a long time. We have potential to really make some noise this year. We're kind of got to get going. Brand new team, brand new coach. You didn't have a whole season last year. This weekend is going to be fun to watch. It's opening ACC play. Pitt's a decent baseball team. They got good defense, good bullpen. They can hit, but nothing extraordinary that I've seen yet. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see. I mean, ACC ball, no matter who you're playing, like it's big boy baseball. So I'm excited to see who steps up and plays well. I want to see Tyler Martin continue to hit the ball. I mean, the kid's filthy. We're really deep, man. I like our pitching staff. I like this team a lot. I think old Mike Jr. has a little chip on his shoulder. People said he couldn't do it because God bless 11. I love him to death, but he never won the big one. And right. I think Meade is on a mission, So this year, hopefully we get a full season in. It's looking like we are. Hopefully we can make some noise and make a push. And if things go our way a couple times, maybe who knows what we'll do if we make it to Omaha.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I think we were honoring 11 on that opening game, so it was kind of disappointing for a lot of people to see us, go ahead and drop that opening game against UNF, just because that was us honoring 11, him retiring, and this is his first game back. It was supposed to be last year, but for his first game back with his son now the head coach or the lead manager there for the Noles. So I think it was kind of disappointing to start, but let's not forget UNF is a pretty damn decent baseball team. And so, I mean, for us to take that series 2 out of 3 is huge. If we would have lost that series, I probably would have had a little bit more worries heading into, ACC play here against Pitt. But I mean, coming back and, putting the offense out there, scoring 14 runs in that second game was huge to see the offense light up. And then also put 8 wins on Sunday in that second game on the doubleheader was awesome. The pitching is only going to get better. It's early on in the season. These guys are young. They're experiencing the speed of the game for the first time. Like you spoke about Carson Montgomery, we got a couple other young guys in there too. We don't have the guys that we used to have that are the juniors and seniors who just sling it and they're going to get the job done. I mean, that have the postseason leadership capabilities and things of that nature. And that's just going to continue to grow throughout the season with these young guys. Like you said, Carson Montgomery, he's going to be a beast. He's going to probably get drafted this year, but I hope he stays. But I think it's only leading up to a very promising season after we beat or take the series from, a pretty decent UNF team who proves year in, year out that they're pretty decent. And now heading into ACC play with Pitt, like you said, they didn't get much really going on the offensive side of the ball, while they were at the plate. So that bodes well for us and our pitching staff. It's just a matter of backing it up with our offense. Matthew Nelson is supposed to be something special this year behind the plate, our catcher, and he's also supposed to be something special at the plate hitting wise as well. So he's one of those older guys. He's been around for a while. We'll see what he's able to do and improve his season. But back to Tyler Martin, man, I wasn't as skeptical on him as maybe you were or some other people were, but obviously there's questions being called into concern when it's, somebody who's associated with the family who's the head coach and, favoritism and things of that nature. But I think he doesn't give a shit, honestly. I just think he doesn't care. He's like, this is my life. This is what I'm going to make of it. And I'm going to come out here and ball and do my damn thing. And that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, dude's sitting 750 through 3 games. Consistently on base. Like it's amazing how often I just see, Tyler Martin's on base, RBI, and Tyler Martin, and his name just consistently flashes up when it comes to the baseball updates and everything of that nature. One thing I want to say, dude, I'm so tired of college baseball not being televised. I need these games being on national networks. It's so annoying that you got to try and go alternate routes to try and watch this. I want to pay attention to college baseball. College baseball, in my opinion, is much more exciting than professional baseball. There's a lot more that goes into it. It's a lot more exciting. A lot more plays need to be made. And, it's not all professionalism where they're going to make the plays. Like, you never know what the outcome of the game is going to be. So that's one thing that has bugged me up to this point. But hopefully we start to see that, as the season progresses.
Yeah, it's just like football. It's just more passion in it, Not all these kids are going to go into the MLB. It's a lot harder road to get to the MLB than it is to the NFL out of college. I agree. I mean, college baseball there's something about this that middle at the bat, man. Like it's so much fun to watch. The College World Series, it's on my bucket list to go to Omaha and see that. Yeah, I mean, it's like Texas Longhorns. They have their own network for it. Longhorn Network. It's like I wish we could do something like that, but we don't have that big of a market for it. I mean, we have some diehard baseball fans because of Mike Martin, those many years. I mean, we have some diehard baseball fans at FSU. We're a great baseball school. We're one of the best. I just want to see us the day we scratch across that first natty. Man, I'm tell you what, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go wild, crazy, bro. And I know Mike Martin will be there for it, and I think it's going to happen soon, man. I think that's the point we're trying to make. We're trying to take that next step finally. But the rankings this year are tough. I mean, all the juggernauts are playing ball. So, I mean, the top 5 is Ole Miss, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Louisville, Mississippi State. I mean, those are amazing programs. I think it's Vanderbilt's year. They're due for – I mean, they're literally the Bama of baseball, in my opinion. Their facilities are insane. They're one of the last true baseball schools. That's the only program they have that they really pump money into. I mean, their football stadium is half of their baseball facilities. It's like dedicated to baseball. Because that left field line is like right underneath the stadium, and in the stadium right there is where like a lot of their facilities are. And their facilities are nicer than most MLB teams, especially like the Rays and Athletics and stuff. So God bless the Rays.
It's gonna be tough sledding. Baseball, there's always your blue blood. I mean, we say blue bloods, so like your teams that are always there, your Floridas, your Vandy's, your UCLA's, your LSU's, teams of Ole Miss, teams of that nature who are always there right in the thick of things. So we're always there too at the end, but nobody ever really likes to talk about us up until that point because that's when we usually turn it on. So I'm hoping meat kind of reverses that. Like we are now like maybe take on that, Leonard Hamilton new blood mentality, even though we've been here, but take on that new blood where we're going to be competing for championships. We have competed or tried to compete for them, but I want to see it go even further.
We just never had the firepower. Our bats would never get hot. I mean, last World Series, Martin,
they got hot last year.
Man, we just got cold, like
they got hot last year for a little bit before they cooled off.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we made it to Omaha in 11s last year, Mike Martin, was crazy. I mean, that was such a fun season to watch at the end. We beat LSU in Baton Rouge in the Super Regional or whatever. That was – no one thought we could do that.
I was going nuts. I was going nuts.
It was awesome, man. I wish I was in Baton Rouge for that. I mean, that's a tough football crowd, Death Valley. Their baseball is probably, in a way, even worse because they're right on top of you. Yeah. I mean, us at baseball games, FSC, like, we're rough too. We'll look up the players and we'll call them out.
Tell them about that right outfield, baby. That right outfield stand.
Oh yeah, and they're always like just looking at us like, "Shut up, man!" Like we're calling out things they did in high school because we found their Instagram or something. But it's really exciting to see like recruiting's picking up finally, and we're getting some good players. We're deep this year, man. It's a brand new team though, and it's like basketball. We just got to get that groove. We got to get that groove going. And
I think we're on the right path.
Yeah, baseball is a weird sport, man. It's a weird sport. Skill plays just as much as chance does, and a lot of things have to go your way, and it's just a big grind, Just it's such a skillful game. So we shall see. But shout out Bryce Hewlett, my boy. I hope he plays well, but I hope we sweep him.
Can't believe. Yeah, I was going to ask you. That's what I was going to ask you next. What are your predictions for this weekend?
I think we'll win 2 out of 3.
You think we'll go 2 out of 3 again? Yeah, I will most likely go 2 out of 3. Win 2 out of 3 of those. I am more on the optimistic side, saying we'll go 3-0 just based off of their offensive output and their previous matchup versus a team that nobody really knows about. So that leaves me a little bit of optimism for that, and it's at home. So I like that a lot more too. We're not having to travel to Pitt to be able to play these games. So
Pitt's playing in Jacksonville tonight. So I don't know if they're going back to Pittsburgh and coming back to Florida.
They'll probably stay
because they're online anyway. So they're probably just going to come to Tallahassee. So they're already down here. They're playing right now against Jacksonville, and then they'll probably bus over tomorrow, or I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, my boy Bryce on first base. That dude's an absolute human rubber band. Dude can do a split and a sleep. It's insane. He'll get drafted hopefully after this year, and I hope so. He still asks me for help on his homework and stuff, and he's not in very tough classes. So we'll see. But
yeah. And I'm excited to see you this weekend, man. It's been a while since I've seen you, so I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot going on, and we try to see each other as much as possible. But I'm excited, man. You're coming up, and we'll get into a few things while you're here this weekend. Have a little bit of fun. With that being said, man, that's our baseball topic for the night, and we'll move on to hoops now. Florida State basketball. We're back on the snide, baby. We're back playing Florida State basketball. We are now ranked 11 in the nation. I think that we could have been and cracked that top 10. I mean, you've got teams like Iowa sitting up there that has more losses than us and hasn't really looked great as of recently. So I think we could have been higher, but I'll take 11. But the guys who are ranking us at 12 and 13 still in that poll are starting to piss me off. Like, why are you ranking us that low? Like, you're still hating on what Florida State's been able to do and what we have proven year in, year out to be able to do. And it's starting to piss me off, but I'll just recap this week or this past week that, we haven't been able to talk about. So we play at home against Wake Forest. We win 92-85 2 Saturdays ago. And then we play Virginia on Monday night, who was, highly ranked team at the time. And we absolutely smacked them by 21 points. I think they were ranked number 5 or something crazy like that at the time. And just come out there and smack them and, show the world that Florida State is still the same Florida State team that needs to be reckoned with. And then after that, we go on the road to Pitt, who we've had an extremely hard time, winning against Pitt. In the past 2 times we've gone up there, we've lost. So I was extremely worried about this, not just only covering the spread, but just winning overall. And we won that game by 7 points heading into our game tomorrow against Miami. And we are now the number 11th ranked team. Did you get to watch any of those games, Marshall?
I just kind of kept up with the scores. I was kind of busy. I wasn't able to, but yeah, we're playing. I think we're gonna be fine, man. We do it every year, Like, tournament gets closer, and we're just so when we're hot, we're hot. When we're not, we're not.
Mm-hmm. So we always play up and down to the level of competition that we're playing. So like that Wake Forest game, it was closer than I ever needed it to be. Wake Forest is, at the bottom tier of the ACC teams, and they were in it for the majority of the game, and we started to pull away late. And that's great to see. We held the score, or we held the lead for the majority of that game. I think we held the lead for the whole game. It's just they were always right there on our ass, and that's not what I want to see from Florida State. But then we come out on Monday night and play a Virginia team that, for some God knows what reason, Leonard Hamilton's got Tony Bennett's number when it comes to playing Virginia. He just knows how to play Virginia. He just knows how to shut them down, not be able to do anything. Virginia, I think, only allows on average this season 56, 58 points per game to their opponents, and we put up 81. I think we have 46 points or something, so 10 points shy of their average at halftime, and we were smoking them. I think there was one point we were up 30 points on them at one point, and we just shut them down. And there's been so many news outlets, and especially guys who are associated with the ACC network who pay attention to this shit on a daily basis. They were blown away. They were I did not expect that. I expected it to be a close game. Florida State just shows that they're a legit team to be threatened with. And now, after all these games that we just played this last week, we're sitting as the number 1 overall team in the ACC right now. So if we go ahead and win out the rest of this regular season, we will be crowned the regular season champions for the 2nd year in a row heading into postseason play in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, hopefully we can win it for real this year. I hate they gave us that trophy last year. I wish they just made it void. You can just see the disappointment in their faces after that night when COVID hit. But yeah, man, I think we're going to be sitting at a nice little 2 seed or something like that in the big tournament. It's kind of we're kind of like the UCF of basketball. That's why we're not getting respect yet. It takes time, year after year after year, to fill that mold of blue blood program, and we're brand new on the scene still. It's been a long time coming. We've seen it to come up. We know what we got. But on a national stage, it's hard to. A good comparison I heard is this is South Carolina becoming elite at football. In the SEC, a mid-tier SEC team, because I compare the ACC to the SEC in basketball. We're the dominant conference.
Right.
It's imagine if South Carolina just all of a sudden became elite in football. It'd take a couple years for us to go, okay, yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're in.
Right.
I think we're definitely disrupting, and people are starting to okay, Florida State's a problem. We're a problem. I think we can beat anyone. We can. If we play our best game, we can not easily, but we can beat anyone. Last year, the stars were aligned. I felt like we were going to win the championship last year. We were just playing so great. But this year, brand new team, I think it's all going to come together at the right time. Just the chemistry on the team is so, superior to so many other teams. Kids aren't here to go to the pros. They're here to play at Florida State. And now we're getting the five-star recruits that are starting to believe in that too. when the money's on the line, man, this team's going to do some damage in the tournament. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and I don't want to, compare them to last year's team because obviously, like you said, the stars were aligned last year with the leadership, the veteranship that we had in the locker room, on the floor at all times. You talk about Trent Forrest, you talk about Devin Vassell, you talk about guys like Patrick Williams as well, who's a one and done. But I mean, those guys were just, animals in their own right. They just completely put it together. They fit so well together. But we're starting to see that now, and that's what's kind of scary. If I'm an opposing team, that's what scares me. Florida State is starting to round into what they're supposed to be at this time. And all these 3 games were coming off of another 2-week long absence, another week and a half long absence from COVID. And they're coming out and being able to play the same way they were before. And it's pretty crazy. I mean, we're starting to see Scotty Barnes start to round into understanding what he needs to do at the point guard position, even though he's so big and large. He's being able to, once he comes into the game, he completely changes it. Their offense is on the other side of the ball. No matter what our opponent is, they have to completely try and figure out what the hell to do when you've got a 6'10", point guard guarding you who's got a 7'4" wingspan. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, it becomes that much more difficult. And I think it's great that we're bringing him off the bench right now and letting Raekwon Evans start. Like, Raekwon Evans isn't necessarily providing us what we need as a starter at point guard, but when you bring in Scotty in that second unit, obviously we go 10 deep, 12 deep on our bench. That's what we do. But, if we can stay healthy and these guys start rounding in the form and completely understanding what they have to do for our team to be successful, that's going to be huge. I mean, you've seen the jump that Balsa Koprivica has taken this year at the center position. He was out one game and we still won, but him being back just kind of propelled us to that next level. Scotty Barnes rounding, like I said before, rounding into his understanding of what he needs to do to make this team be successful. He doesn't necessarily have to make the big play every time, but I mean, the game to force it to overtime against Wake Forest, I believe, that was huge. That bucket that he hit, like that's the type of play we need on a consistent basis. And being able to see them come together, we know that's going to happen. We know these guys are so tight. Like, that's just Leonard Hamilton. You have to have that. Like, if you don't have that, you're not going to start for Leonard Hamilton. You're not going to be part of his rotation. If you don't have that camaraderie, that connection with the rest of the players and what he's asking the whole squad to do, you're not going to be able to get that playing time. And so, like, for Scotty to be able to start slowly working his way into it, obviously he's going to get playing time because he's the highest rated recruit we've ever had. Number 1 through 3 overall prospect, depending on where you look, coming out of high school and now playing at Florida State. So it's coming together, and I think we're hitting our stride at the right time, which is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. We've got this game against Miami tomorrow, and then after that, we've got 3 more games, and then maybe potentially a couple more, depending on if those postponed games are made up or not. So we've got, after Miami, we've got UNC, which UNC is starting to look a lot better than they did at the beginning of the season. So that'll be another challenge. And then we've got Boston College at home and then away at Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's not as good as they usually are. So, I mean, if we run the table here, we're going to be looking good heading into that ACC tournament. And I don't believe we need to win that ACC tournament for us to necessarily lock in, a 1 through 3 seed. If we win out, I think we're pretty much locked into that. But it would be nice to get, an ACC tournament actual championship, not like it was handed to us last year.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think we're sitting nice.
Yeah, we're sitting pretty, boys, and we're gonna get there eventually. But a couple of little side notes when it comes to basketball here before we go ahead and log off for you guys. Shout out to former assistant coach Dennis Gates, man. Doing big things up there at Cleveland State. Didn't necessarily have the season he wanted to in his first year, but coming out this year, being able to lead Cleveland State to a Horizon League regular season championship, that's huge for him and the momentum that he has been able to build. It just proves that Leonard Hamilton's assistant coaches are top notch because, I mean, you can't. Second season, he goes and wins, the Horizon League regular season championship. So that's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Sorry, yeah. And then, to round out the basketball thing, there's a ACC update on them outlining, the tournament admission policy for both women's and men's basketball in terms of fans being able to attend. And ultimately what the decision was, because the current state of North Carolina regulations, says there should be no crowds available at games. So no public tickets will be available for the 2021 ACC men's or women's basketball tournaments, but we will be able to watch them. So that's a positive note. And the only people that will be able to attend are family and guests of team personnel. Any thoughts on that? I mean, pretty shut and closed, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's whatever, man. Hopefully it's the last year we have to do this, last season. I mean, can't do anything about it.
Yeah, there's not much we can do. But, with that being said, guys, another great episode. We had, a packed episode with all kinds of sports, softball, baseball, basketball, a little bit of football early on. Hopefully football is going to start picking up here around springtime, which is right around the corner, guys. So look out for that. Updates are coming around. We're starting to see more and more, highlight videos of the guys in the weight room. And that's something that excites Marshall. So I'm sure he's going to start saving those, getting ready to talk about certain guys putting on weight, certain guys looking good and everything from Coach Storms. So, tune into that in the future. Also want to highlight, our special episode that we have coming up at the beginning / mid-March with a bunch of special guests that we're going to have on. Huge roundtable. Looking forward to that. And I also want to remind you guys about our koozies. Those koozies are coming out quick. I hope to have them here within the next month or so, and then we're going to start distributing those. If you're a close friend of the program, let us know. We'll send you one on us. And then if not, after those 75 or so are gone, we're going to put those on sale for you guys. And they're not going to be very expensive, probably somewhere between the price of like $3.99, $4.99, guys. So very cheap option, get you a nice little sweet koozie. I know No Game Day is probably going to be trying to throw a nice little tailgate sometime in the fall that everybody can attend. So you guys are going to want your Tribeoholics koozie to go to the No Game Day tailgate. It's going to be awesome stuff. Rock your No Game Day gear and your Tribeoholics gear at the same time. Drink a couple beers, have some fun with the boys. I'm really looking forward to it, man. But anything else, Marshall, before we go ahead and log off?
If you're going to drink Bud Light Seltzer, that's the way to go right there. Strawberry.
Yes, sir. If you like Bud Light anyways, go ahead and go with the Platinums. And especially, I love my
freshman year of college. That was my ticket. That's what I did. And, buddy, there's some wild rides.
Can't go wrong with a good old-fashioned Bud Light of some sort, whether it's a Bud Light Seltzer, Bud Light Platinum, or, just your classical Bud Light. But thank you guys for, tuning in again to another episode of Tribeoholics. We'll be talking to you later.